right, shalom to the hopeful elect. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone who teach the truth and rule well. This is the brother Yatab Yawa'ala coming back from the GMS SF Bay Area camp. And I got a quick lesson today. All right, Lord's will is edifying. But just going into the topic of keeping in mind, keeping at the forefront, of our way of thinking is, understanding that these things are temporal. The materials, the comforts, everything that we have in this society is temporary. It's in addition to that, it's polluted. And, everything that will be necessary, especially heading into the end, especially heading into Jacob's trouble and our temptation, everything that is necessary, the Lord will provide. Everything that we need, and primarily, the knowledge and wisdom, the Lord will provide to us. Lord's will we be of that number, all right, of the elect. But let me start with this. This is 2 Corinthians 4:17, and it says, "For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory." Yeah, and the trial of our faith, the fight of faith, all right, the the temptations, the fiery trial, everything that we go through, the hell that we catch, it's all for our profit, and it's all for, making us ready for that eternal weight of glory. All right, because the scriptures talk about the kingdom that is to come, starting with Yahweh Shai and the elect, the kingdom of Yasharallah. All right, it's going to be an eternal kingdom, meaning it's a kingdom that's going to last forever, with bodies that are going to live forever, which is part of the new covenant, those immortal bodies. And, with that understanding, that everything that you build up, everything that you have, your possessions, your comforts, when you live in a body that lives forever and you live in a society that lasts forever, well, that's when you can truly enjoy and rest and really enjoy the fruits of your labor. All right. We don't have that here. This is a polluted society. It's ran by the man of sin. All right. And we live in bodies that are decaying, and everything here is temporary. All right. And not only that, the Lord has promised a destruction to this place. So anything that we have here is just that. It's temporary. All right. Now, verse 18, it says, "While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal." And again, we have to keep this vision in mind. The kingdom to come, when things there are going to last, things there are not polluted, things there, are going to be fully enjoyed. All right. And, again, the materials that we have here, the riches that we have here, the comforts that we have here, that's another thing Esau can play on. It's another thing Satan, can play on if you have attachments to this place, to the things here, especially in the hour of temptation. All right. So we have to learn to let go. All right. Like Apostle Gabar goes into it, living, a minimalist lifestyle, not having too many possessions, not having too many, things going on, living a simple life, not diving into too much comforts here, because ultimately, you get too comfortable here. What's going to happen? Well, you're going to fail the test. All right. But again, the elect, the scriptures say they love not their lives unto death. So we understand what this place is. There is no enjoying it. No matter how much comforts, Esau tries to throw your way or Satan tries to throw your way. The elect have the true understanding that this place is polluted. It's not it. And it has to go. All right. First and foremost, the man of sin is in control. When you have the man of sin in control, the earth is literally being killed. All right. But let me get this Proverbs 11:4, because understanding that the second death is coming, which is, thermonuclear destruction, that everything else is going to be destroyed. All right. But even before that, heading into Jacob's trouble, you can see how Esau's, creating the system to really put pure hell on the people. All right. Tariffs, making, basically, day-to-day living pure hell. Not only that, going into the hour of temptation, all these things involve buying and selling. So if you're in the mindset, which you should be in the mindset, that the MOTB is the CHIP, and you need the CHIP to buy and sell, well, you're going to understand that all these things are going to have to be left behind. All right, and also, the time of Revelation 12, Esau coming down with great wrath of the persecution. All right, hey, we might be on the move. Well, the scriptures talk about it. In the Lord's will, I'm gonna bring it up. Being pilgrims. So understanding that, the things that we have is not going to profit us. All right, the carnal things, I should say. The main thing that will profit is what? The true knowledge and wisdom. All right. Which, let me grab that. Let me finish this. Proverbs 11:4 says, "Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death." And that's what we're hoping to be, of the righteous. All right, but you have a lot of these pundits, you have a lot of these carnal, financial forecasters that are talking about investing in the different silver and gold, and investing in the stocks while it's down, and riding the wave when it's up. Well, which, you're not wicked if you get into those things, but if you're banking on that, if you're investing on that, you're in for a rude awakening. We understand these things come and go. If you can make a little money, it's all good. But in the end, we understand that all is a loss here. All right, all is dung here. But let me jump over here. Isaiah. Isaiah 33 and verse 6, and it says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times." And that's why, the scriptures say, "Seek ye the Lord while he may be found." Get into this knowledge, get into the wisdom, understanding what's even, milk, the true names of the Lord, having faith, praying, you fasting, these things are necessary for the times, even now, and more so when things get real bad out here. All right, it says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure." And that's the best thing to have, is the know of what's going on. All right, and the fear of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the one who's really truly orchestrating everything. But to know what's going on, to understand the times, it'll make you stable. While all these people were invested, they were caught up in, buy this, buy that, this will save you, that will save you. They're in for a rude awakening, because Esau is about to shut everything down. All right, and again, that ultimate test is going to come whether you got, tons of gold or not, tons of silver or not, whether you have millions of dollars in the stock market or not. The hour of temptation is coming. All right. Now let me jump over here, Matthew 6:25, and this is the cure for anxiety, because ultimately this is why these people go into these things, because they have an anxiety of, and really they don't know. All right, they haven't been given this truth. All right, so they think there's a form of salvation, outside of our power. All right, but the Lord has given us the answers, and this is wisdom right here, to understand that when these things happen, we don't need to rely on, the physical things that we have. We don't need to rely on whether we got a car or a house, whether we got money in the bank, all these things don't matter in the grand scheme of things. What truly matters is Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right, and that faith and hope that you have of being saved, and knowing that he's the only way. All right, again, this is Matthew 6:25, and the subheading is the cure for anxiety. It says, "Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat, what you shall drink, nor yet for your body, what you shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment?" You don't even have to worry about what you wear. It says, "Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are you not much more better than thee?" All right, so if you ever even see this, birds eat. The birds eat. They drink water. You see water on the sidewalk. See a couple birds by it. Hey, that's the Lord allowing these birds to have water. All right, now the Lord is saying, are we not much better than they? All right, and they get fed. So will we not get fed? All right, real quick. Isaiah 65:13, it says, "Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, behold, my servants shall eat, but you shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but you shall be ashamed. And you know, this is what's going to happen. The Lord is going to provide for his servants. All right. But again, have you been serving? You know, do you fit the category of a servant, or do you fit the category of a 2/3? All right. It says, behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but you shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. All right. And that's what's going to happen to these people that haven't put their trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, who really put their trust in this system. They put the trust in Esau. They put the trust in their own riches. All right. Well, the scriptures say there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. All right. But again, you know, the Lord has shown us that, you know, he's going to provide for his servants, and there's no you know, need to fear the things that are coming. No need to fear if you're going to eat, if you're going to drink, because again, the Lord will provide. All right. It says 27, which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto his stature? And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Therefore, if the Most High so clothe the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? All right, and that's what it's about. You know, it's about, do you believe? Do you believe that the Lord has the power to give you the things necessary? Ultimately, do you believe that our power has the ability to save you? All right. I mean, you know, this is what the stories of the men of the Lord are for. All right, the events that happened prior. You know, you read about, you know, the 3 holy children. You read about, you know, the King David. You read about, all right, Elijah, and you know, all the miracles that the Lord did to provide for his people. All right, and especially his men. You know, food brought by ravens. You know, or the Lord sending another prophet by way of an angel picking him up and as he was cooking to set him in to give him some food in a whole different city. All right, this is the power of the Lord. The scriptures say nothing is impossible. But again, do you believe that? You know, and this is what's going to be needed, because again, you know, the times we're coming into, we might have to just drop everything. All right, you had a whole ass house with all these different things inside. You know, you had the newest Jordans, you know, the 20 pairs. All right. You had the nice pea coats, you know, you had a brand new car, whatever the case may be. All right. But understanding that you might have to just drop it all and go and just have that leap of faith. You know, these are the scenarios that should be running through your head, because this is what the Lord said was going to happen. All right. It says verse 31, therefore take ye no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For after all these things did the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. And yeah, that's a Gentile mind state, because they don't believe. They don't have access to the belief in our power. You know, neither do they have access of the strength of our power. Slakia. You know, but the Lord is telling us we don't have to worry about these things. We don't have to worry about eating. We don't have to worry about drinking. We don't have to worry about having clothes. All right, because it's nothing for the Lord to provide these things. All right, and that's going to be the least of our worries, you know, when this shit starts to really getting popped off. You know, it says, for after all these things do the Gentiles seek, for your heavenly Father knoweth that you have need of all these things. Yeah, the Lord knows exactly what we need. So, you know, doing this, presenting our bodies a living sacrifice, you know, serving the Lord to the best of our abilities. You think the Lord's not going to take care of us? Well, he said, my servants shall eat. You know, and that's the faith that you need to have. It says, verse 33, but seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And how do you do that? How do you seek the kingdom? Well, you seek him. All right. You see, you're doing the things necessary as a man of the Lord would be doing. All right, having faith, believing, praying, fasting, getting with brethren. Hey, first and foremost, pushing this word, believing, and ultimately doing everything in sincerity. All right, doing exactly what the Lord says, submitting to the will of the Lord. It says, "But seek ye the kingdom of the Most High and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." So, hey, you do that. You seek righteousness, you seek the kingdom. You seek to get the hell up out of here. Or the Lord said, all these things shall be added unto you. Everything that we need, the Lord's going to provide. All right. It says, "Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought of the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof." Yeah, we don't have to be planning out, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. If anything, if you do make plans, you say the Lord's will. But again, understanding that, when in the times to come, we're just gonna have to worry about what's in front of us. Sending those prayers up, casting that burden on the Lord, and understanding that He shall sustain us. All right. And let me end off on here. This is 2nd Ezra 16. And let me start at verse 37. It says, "Behold, the plagues draweth nigh, and are not slack." We're heading into those times of heavy plagues. All right. It says, and again, you see what Trump's doing with the economy. All right. You're seeing, the sentiment that's being pushed out there in the Middle East. War's right around the corner. They're trying to crash this system to implement a new one. All right. So what is that? That's that order ab chaos. But before their pseudo order, what's going to happen? That chaos. All right. It says, "As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment." And this is what we're in. All right. We're in those contractions, and they're just getting more intense, and they're getting more and more frequent. Again, you can see by way of the prophecies, you can see by way of everything that's going on, that we're getting closer and closer to the end. All right. So again, we have to be in that mindset that, hey, any day could pop off. And if it does, I got to drop everything. All right. It says, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word, make ye ready to the battle, and in those evils be it even as pilgrims upon the earth." And it starts with the mentality. All right. And then ultimately, it's going to play out. Lord's will, we be at that number of the elect. We're going to be able to do these things. But it starts with that mentality of understanding that this place ain't it. This is not society worth living. This is all temporary. All right. And you know what? Storing up that knowledge and wisdom. That's how you make yourself ready. All right. It says, "He that selleth, let him be as he that flieth away." And again, let me see if I can get this word, pilgrims. Hold on, let me check the online etymon real quick. Salak, bear with me. What does it say? Yep. Yep, it says, "Pilgrim circa 1200, a person traveling to a holy place." And ultimately, what's the ultimate holy place? The kingdom. All right. It says, "As a penance, or to discharge some vow or religious obligation, or seeking some miracle or spiritual benefit." Seeking miracles. It says, "Also a traveler, generally a wayfarer, pilgrim, crusader, foreigner, stranger." Yeah, and we're in a strange land. All right, we're just passing through. It says foreigner, stranger, foreign resident. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, But what is it? It's understanding that we are foreign. We're in a foreign land, and what are we doing? We're just passing through. So if you're just passing through, do you have commitments here? Do you have things that you're supposed to hold on? Are you supposed to establish something in a place where you're just passing through? No. All right. It says, be ye even as pilgrims upon the earth, as someone who's just traveling through. It says, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will loose. Yeah, and if you sell anything, you got businesses, understanding that you're going to take losses. All right, you just might have to shut the business down. It says, he that occupieth merchandise is he that had no profit by it, and he that buildeth is he that shall not dwell therein. Yeah, we have houses, we have things. Brothers might even do little, what do you call it? Additions or whatever. You might do little projects on your house. You might build something in your apartment, wherever you may live. You might start something. Yeah, brothers have hobbies, but understanding, being in the mindset that you're not going to be able to dwell therein. All right, there's going to come a time where Esau is going to make that move, and you got to say, all right, fuck it. It is what it is. It says, he that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he shall not gather the grapes. They that marry as they shall not get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers. And therefore they that labor in vain. Yeah, everything we're trying to establish, everything we're looking for, it's like looking, but working for, you work, again, if you have your own business, even if you're working, you're making money, understanding that all that is just temporary. It's all vain labor. All right, for a place that's about to be destroyed. All right. It says, for strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, the houses, their possessions, and their own persons. And that's going into something else. But ultimately, understanding that everything that we have here, everything that, that, again, that we have carnally, that we have possessions, riches, comforts, understanding that all this, is going to have to be let go in a moment notice. All right. If you believe, if you're of the elect, you're going to be able to let go. All right. You're going to be, Esau's not going to be able to hold that, over your head, when he puts this sea hip into action. All right. When he comes down, and that's not going to be an attachment. All right. The true elect are going to understand that, that it is what it is. You can have it all, Esau. This shit about to be destroyed anyways. All right. But yeah, Lord's will, this is edifying. Just a quick lesson going into, being in that pilgrim mind state and understanding that all these things are temporary, and we look forward to the riches that are going to be permanent in the kingdom to come. All right. And making our mind ready for being able to give up all these things. All right. But again, Lord's will, this is edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect and above all.